pitch. Line into right field. Here comes Conforto. He's got a plate on a hop. Here comes Tauchman. Here's the throw. Tauchman is safe, and the Yankees win 8-7.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel, and we continue 30 teams in 30 days. Today it's time for the New York Yankees, a team that has won more World Series championships than anybody, including 3 straight back from 98 to 2000, including the 2009 championship. But it's been a struggle since then to get back to that fall classic. This is a team that looked awesome going into 2020, ended up losing the division, still made the playoffs, but then lost to that same Rays team that won the division in the division series. And a lot of that can be contributed to injuries. The Yankees are a little bit injury prone. I think that most would agree on that. But they are still very, very talented, and they have gotten deeper with a lot of offseason moves, including the signing of left-handed free agent Justin Wilson, who was with the Yankees back in 2015, and he had an awesome 3.1 ERA, struck out 66 and 61, and the 33-year-old has continued to pitch well for the Mets the past 2 years. Should be a nice piece for the Yankees bullpen. He's got a mid-90s fastball, solid cutter, occasional changeup. He's got a nice curve, and he will be back in pinstripes. But more importantly, DJ LeMahieu will be back, and he is one of the biggest talents in the game, and he actually stays relatively healthy, which is why they absolutely had to bring him back. It was critical. He led the league in batting average, led the league in on base, led the league in OPS, led the league in OPS plus. Think I've said enough about him right there. And another interesting move, another big name, although it's a minor league contract, Jay Bruce is going to be in camp. Some are taking this as a sign that they're not going to bring back Brett Gardner, but I don't think that's the case. I think that they're just adding extreme depth. They are signing any and everybody who has major league experience, and if they'll take a minor league deal, they're going to be in Yankees camp. As you can see, there is a ton of them, and I think it's just, they've had a lot of injuries and underperformance from backup guys, so he's going to be there to compete. And Bruce, he's someone injury prone himself, but he's got 318 career home runs, and he hit 6 last year in just 96 at-bats for the Phillies. So that is a nice power bat if needed. If, or should I say when, guys like Hicks and Judge get hurt. I mean, it's almost a guarantee they're going to miss some time at some point. He could also compete, like I said, for a backup outfielder role, occasional DH role with guys like Mike Tauchman and Mike Ford, neither of whom were great in 2020. Any possible holes in the rotation were sealed up by trading for Jameson, Taillon, and signing free agent Corey Kluber. And we will get into both those guys in a little bit. And the bullpen was also improved, not only with Wilson, but with Darren O'Day, who appeared in 19 games for the Braves in 2020, giving up a grand total of 2 earned runs. He had an ERA of 1.1, struck out 22 batters, and he earned a 1-year deal at the age of 38. Other than that, the Yankees have signed a massive amount of very recognizable names to minor league deals. You can see the list there, and I'm betting at least a couple of them, if not more, play a role in 2021. Adam Warren is back with the Yankees. You got Matt Bowman, remember him from the Cardinals. Rob Brantley was with the Giants last year, and he could be important because there's a little bit of a catching issue with the Yankees. And they even signed a couple of other rotation options. Asher Wojciechowski looked good at times with the Orioles, and Yolis Chacin, neither of whom have been excellent as of late. But still, if any team needs extra depth in case of injuries, it would be the freaking Yankees. Jumping into the starting lineup, and when healthy, it is intimidating. There is no doubt. LeMahieu at the top, outstanding, hitting a 364 after an All-Star 2019. So people can put away the theory that he was only good because he played in Denver. And then Aaron Judge, and yes, he's injury prone, but when he's in there, he is a massive power threat. Obviously, I don't think I need to even talk about what Aaron Judge can bring to the table. He just needs to stay healthy and on the field. Aaron Hicks is a consistent switch hitter. He's going to get on base more than enough to make up for his kind of low batting average, but he also got power, smashed 27 home runs in his last full season. His defense isn't the best, but he's got a cannon for an arm. His main issue, like Judge, I bet you can guess what it is, staying on the freaking field. And the same can be said for Giancarlo Stanton, who played in only 18% of the Yankees games over the past 2 seasons, traded from Miami after hitting 59 home runs in 2017, and since then has only hit 145 over 3 years. That said, when he's in there, obviously he's ridiculously dangerous. The Yankees are going to use him pretty much exclusively as a DH to try to keep him healthy. But of course, that means guys like Judge are going to be in the field. So, there's more than one guy I think they would love to use as a DH, but it's going to be Stanton because they need that bat. Next is Luke Voit, who hit more home runs than anyone in the league with 22 bombs. And if I had told you someone on the Yankees is going to lead the league in home runs, your first pick probably wouldn't have been Luke Voit. But he did it, and he strikes out a lot. He doesn't walk that much, but if the trade-off is this type of home run production, I think the Yankees will take it. Gleyber Torres is going to be looking for a bounce-back year after a drop in production. But in his case, I think maybe that drop in production offensively anyway can be due to the shortened season, to the weirdness of 2020, and that goes for other guys as well. So I expect his numbers to be better in 21, but also his defense was a little shaky at best. So that's some cause for concern. And then Clint Frazier, he's got amazing bat speed, pretty good defense as well, improved his patience at the plate with a 394 on base, 8 home runs in just 39 games. I think he's finally going to get a chance to play a full season without worrying about getting shuffled back to AAA. So Clint Frazier is big time for the Yankees. And then Gio Urshela continues to show that he's a big league talent, not just with the glove, but at the plate. He had a great 2019, followed it up with a big 2020, hit 298 with an 858 OPS. And then finally, Gary Sanchez. And I got to be honest about Gary Sanchez.
That piece of shit up there, I never liked him. I never trusted him.
Yes, he had a massive 2017, and he's been horrendous ever since. And, he will occasionally square one up and hit one a mile, but otherwise he looks like he's just flailing away, just swinging misses, poor contact, and his 2020 batting average was 147. That is not going to work. If they got to put in Kyle Higashioka, if that's their best option, hey, that's who they should go with. I even think that Rob Brantley would be a better option. He looked good with the Giants in spring training. He's got good defense. He hit 314 in 236 at-bats in AAA in 2019, and he'll be in spring training. So they have options. I know it's weird to say you'd rather have Rob Brantley than freaking Gary Sanchez. I understand that, but, that's just terrible. And I almost made a rant video last year during the playoffs when, Gary Sanchez was saying publicly, I don't understand why I'm not in there. I should be in there. I don't understand. I just want to know why. Really, bro? You don't know why you're not in there? I remember riding the bench in high school after going 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts. I didn't really need to ask why. I had a pretty good idea. All that said, assuming this lineup stays healthy, even with Sanchez, it's very strong. And Sanchez, like I said, does provide a threat of going deep. So he does bring that. But I think he is a weakness, though, in the lineup until he proves otherwotherwise. Gleyber Torres needs to be a little bit better. Other than that, it's just about staying healthy because this lineup is going to be potent if it does. It's going to be powerful, and I'm going to give it a B+. I think for this team, we should take a look at the bench because, they're going to need extra options in case of injury. And like I said, Higashioka is solid, like I mentioned earlier, but the Yankees have an issue at catcher, so, there could be some moves on the horizon. We'll see what happens. And but Higashioka is Gerrit Cole's personal catcher, if I'm not mistaken, so that's a ton of value in and of itself right there. Mike Ford hit just 135 last year. He's going to have to prove something at spring training if he wants to hang on to a roster spot. And you got Tyler Wade, clock's ticking for him too. He got a lot of opportunities to fill in for injured players, but he hit 170 last year. He does have a strong glove. He does have some speed, and, he could be nice to have, but we'll have to wait and see on him. Miguel Andujar, that is a compelling case right there. This is a guy who is still young. He is powerful. In 2018, he had a full season, hit 297 with 27 bombs and 92 RBIs. So I don't know if he's on the trade block. Assuming he still looks decent in spring training, I would assume the Yankees would want to hang on to him because they're going to need that extra depth. They're going to want a big league bat who can really crush the ball in there when there's going to be injury issues, because it's not if, it's pretty much when. And I'm sorry to say that. I could be wrong, but I'm just assuming that there are going to be some injury issues with this lineup. Every team has injury issues. The Yankees just tend to specialize in it. Greg Allen came over in a trade from the Padres. He's got nice defense and speed. Not too much of a bat, though. You got Estrada, who wasn't that great in 2020, but he showed promise in 2019. Same for Wade. Same for some other options here. Tauchman, another guy, also 2019 looked good. Fell apart in 2020. Overall, it's not the most impressive bench based on recent results, but they do have the one saving grace, and that is Andujar, and I think he is excellent, and I think a couple other guys who are going to be invited to spring training. Check out that list I showed earlier. for the new additions, and I think a couple of those guys could make the team and also be productive guys off the bench. So it's not the worst bench in the world. I don't think it will be, but it's not the most impressive either. I think it's kind of just right in the middle right now. So I'm going to give this bench a C. Jumping into the rotation at the top is the one and only Gerrit freaking Cole, bona fide ace. He had another great 2020, posted his third straight sub-3 ERA while having the best average velocity among American League starters. You can't blame any 2020 Yankees issues on Cole. He earned his money, at least for that first year of the $324 million deal. And then Corey Kluber, another major signing for the Yankees, and he was one of the better pitchers in the game before injury issues hit in 19. He only pitched an inning in 2020. He even had to have a showcase to prove he could still pitch. But apparently that was good enough for the Yankees. They signed him up to a one-year deal, and if he can be anywhere close to his pre-2019 production, it's going to be a nice deal for the Yankees. But if not, there's plenty more depth, as you can see, plenty more options. Jameson Taillon was likely going to be the ace in Pittsburgh before getting traded to New York. Again, he's had injuries. He's had, I think, 2 Tommy Johns. That's not a good sign because the Yankees, they've been burned on these kind of deals, these kind of trades for rotation help in the past. But when this guy's healthy, I mean, he's very good, including a 14-10 2018 with a 3 ERA. Reports indicate he feels great and should be ready for spring training. And then Jordan Montgomery, solid strike thrower, should improve on that 5.11 ERA with a bigger sample size and being further removed from his Tommy John surgery. And then Domingo Germán, and he could be higher in their rotation depending on how he looks in spring training after missing all of 2020 after domestic violence suspension. But he was elite in 2019, 18-4 record, 9.6 strikeout per 9. And this rotation, I mean, just talking about those 5, and we'll get into the other names in a minute, but those 5, I mean, there's just a lot of uncertainty there on how everyone other than Cole, I expect Cole to be awesome, but other than that, how's everyone else going to bounce back from either injury or lost time? Assuming everyone's at their best, it's freaking sick. It's going to be damn good. But if there are issues, if there are injury problems or just performance issues, the Yankees have more than enough depth to make up for it, and that's why they've been making these moves. They still got Davy Garcia. Clark Schmidt is waiting in the wings. Michael King showed some brilliant stuff in the minors, although he hasn't really done it in the big leagues yet. Luis Severino, he could be coming back from his Tommy John right around the time a couple of these other guys start having injury issues. Not that I hope for any injury issues, but it's very possible that at some point in the season, possibly at some time in the summertime when Luis Severino's ready, they might need him. Let's just say that. And then on top of all that, you got the guys I mentioned here on minor league deals who, have had success in the past. There is massive depth here, but there's some baggage here too. So we'll see, injury prone guys all over. But when you have, how many names there are, 11, 12 guys who could potentially get plugged into that rotation, then it's pretty decent. So because of the depth, because of young options like Schmidt and Garcia, I actually think that this is going to turn out to be a solid rotation, although I can't say exactly which 5 it will be. I think they're going to have a very strong rotation, and I'm going to give it an A-. Then you got the bullpen anchored by Aroldis freaking Chapman, whose strikeout rate is still beyond elite. His velocity dropped ever so slightly, but when, someone like, Chapman's velocity drops, he's just throwing 100. I mean, he's still getting it up there, 98 to 100 miles an hour. I think he'll be just fine for 21, continue to be dominant. Then you have Zach Britton, who would be a closer for most teams. He is absolutely sick with 2 consecutive sub-2 ERA seasons. Chad Green and Luis Cessa are both great mid-game relievers. They got solid stuff. And then, of course, the big signing to help replace Adam Ottavino, who was shipped to Boston, is going to be Darren O'Day, who hasn't really shown any signs of slowing down. He has also had a sub-ERA for the past 2 seasons. Jonathan Loaizaga has shown great improvement every year of his career. Nick Nelson, great strikeout stuff. He should be ready for a breakout year after a decent 2020 rookie campaign. And pick 1 or 2 of their other options that might make the team out of spring training. Not to mention, again, of course, their new signing, Justin Wilson, who is also going to be big out of that bullpen. So, like I said, pick someone else out of there, who, to make the team. 1 or 2 of those guys could be very helpful. Plenty of options here. And all of those names that I mentioned for the rotation, if they're not in the rotation, they can be in the bullpen helping out. So that's going to make this bullpen even stronger. So I think the bullpen is going to be pretty damn sick with all those options. And I'm actually going to give it an A. Overall, as a team, the Yankees are pretty stacked when you just look at the names on the roster. Guys like Judge, Stanton, Cole, Kluber, Germán, Chapman, I mean, there are names everywhere. DJ LeMahieu. I mean, this team is absolutely stacked name-wise. The big issue is staying healthy. That's the issue. And hoping for some bounce-back seasons also from some underperformance in 2020 and obviously injury again. So because of all those question marks and unknowns, I don't think this team is an A or an A-plus team. But if everyone stays healthy, they could easily be. They could be world champions. I mean, they have that potential. But because of the added depth and all the great young talent on this team, I think they'll be able to fight through any injuries. I do think this is definitely a playoff team. I might even pick them to win the division. So don't be pissed off if you're a Yankees fan. I do think this is a very good team, very strong team. Just worried about all those uncertainties. But other than that, I'm going to give the Yankees a very strong B+. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you are a Yankees fan, I don't get a lot of Yankees fans here, which is weird because there's more Yankees fans than anyone else. And you guys have a fantastic day. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Check out my other 30 previews in 30 days. I'm going to be churning them out really quick here to try to get these wrapped up as soon as possible by March. So you guys have a fantastic day, and we're going to talk to you next time. See ya!
When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye-bye, baby. History's in the making at Oracle Park.